Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be doing a lasagna, and more specifically I'm going to be doing a mushroom lasagna. So I had this big can of mushrooms here and I decided I'm going to use them to make a lasagna today for dinner. So I have my seasoning here cut up. So I have some red and green sweet pepper, I have some onion, I have some garlic, and I have some scallion right there. And for the cheese I'll be using pepper jack, or the Monterey Jack cheese with jalapeno peppers, and then I'll be using some cheddar and of course some mozzarella cheese with that. Alright, so our tomato sauce is already in the pot bubbling away because I did not buy the pre-seasoned sauce. It's just regular tomatoes, crushed tomatoes. So I'm gonna go ahead and season that up with the season that I cut up there, and of course with some other powdered seasoning that I have. So let's get into this. Alright, so into our tomato sauce that we have there, crushed tomato, I'm gonna go ahead and add, because as I said, it's been on the stove for about 10 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and add our seasonings. Now normally if I was using mince, whether it's pork, chicken, beef, I would mince up the seasoning very small, but because it is that we're doing a vegetarian lasagna, not vegan, because of course the cheese is not vegan, but because we're doing a vegetarian lasagna, I decided to just leave the seasoning whole and we can use it just like that. Alright, so let's go ahead and mix that together. Now, as I said, this is just plain tomato, crushed tomato, so you definitely have to season it up to give it some taste. Well, for me anyway, I have to season because I cannot eat it like that. It needs seasoning, guys. So I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of salt in it. I'm gonna add some onion powder, not a lot, because we already have the onions in there. So we really don't need a lot of powdered seasoning, but just, you know, to give it that little extra oomph. We are going to also add to this some dried parsley. And I'm going to add a little bit of my all-purpose Maggi seasoning. Alright, so that's all the powdered seasoning I'll be adding to this sauce. Alright, now the sauce is pretty thick, so you know when you're using the pan and you still have some of the sauce in the pan and you throw a little water in there, right? So that is what I'm gonna do right now and add it to this sauce. So go ahead and just throw that water in. Look how it still comes out thick, because that means that a lot was still in the pan. Right? So let's go ahead and mix that all together. And because we're using the mushroom from the can, it's basically already cooked. So I'm just gonna add it in at this point and just allow it to bubble for about 7 minutes, just to warm everything through. So there we go. Mushrooms, guys. So this is a mushroom lasagna. As I said, it's vegetarian, not vegan, because the cheese that we're going to use, of course, is not vegan cheese. So added our mushrooms, and you see how much it's in the pot, but you want enough liquid in it to help with the lasagna. Alright, so we are just gonna go ahead and cover this and allow it to cook. So I have my stove on medium low, and we're gonna just cover that and allow it to continue cooking for about 7 minutes. Hey love, so while our mushroom sauce is cooking, just wanted to give you a little tip now. This was actually, that's why I said sometimes when you make mistakes, you learn from those mistakes. So I remember one year I was doing a lasagna, just regular lasagna, right? And there, finished doing my meat store, all of those things, putting everything together. So I started to build the lasagna sauce, noodle, cheese, going on. When I was finished, I read the package and realized that the lasagna noodles were the ones that you need to cook were the ones that you need to boil before you use them. So I'm standing there in the kitchen like, what am I gonna do now? Because I cannot just take out, because this is just going to be a mess. So while I was there and contemplating, God, what am I going to do? So I just simply say, no, I'm gonna just cover this with some foil paper and allow it to steam for about 30 minutes before I allow the cheese and stuff to melt. And guys, can I tell you, the noodles came out perfect and it tasted so awesome. So that is what I've been doing ever since then. I don't even care if it's pre-cooked, not cooked, should cook, anything like that. Once I have the noodles, I just ensure that I have enough liquid in the sauce, and then I cover it with a foil paper for about 30 minutes in the oven. And once I do that, I take it off and I put my fork in it. Once my fork can go all the way through it, then that's it for me. So that is just my little tip for you. So just in case, person's always stressed about me have to cook the noodle, you don't need to. Trust me, I did it, and when I did it, I was so surprised that it came out and it still tasted good and the noodles were fully cooked. The one thing I will tell you is just ensure that your sauce has enough liquid in it to ensure that you do it, and ensure that you cover it properly with the foil paper so it can build up that steam and bake the noodles. Alright? So that's my little tip to you while we wait on the sauce to cook. So what we're gonna do now is to go ahead and grate all of the cheese that we're gonna put on it, so that once the sauce is finished, then we can quickly assemble the lasagna and pop it into our oven. So I'm gonna preheat the oven to about 370, 400 degrees. Say about 370, not 400, because maybe a little bit too hot because we're gonna do the steaming. So about 370. And then leave it to steam, as I said, for 30 minutes. And then once that is done, I'm going to take off the foil and then allow it to continue cooking for probably another 20. Alright, just my little tip, a little hack for you. Alright love, so it's been cooking for more than 7 minutes. It's been cooking for about 15 minutes, guys, because I just want to make sure that everything comes together nicely. But there we are, and I'm about to turn it off now. So this is what it looks like, and it smells so good, loves. Oh my gosh, it smells awesome. So here is what our mushroom sauce looks like for our lasagna, and that's it. Alright, so we're gonna turn it off, and we're gonna get ready to start assemble the lasagna. Alright, love, so we're gonna start assembling our lasagna. So I just sprayed it with some cooking spray in the pan, and I always start with the sauce first. So you just put it in the pan and you just spread it out at the bottom of the pan. Always start with the sauce first, guys. Always. You don't want the noodle to be the first thing on the bottom. Classic mistake, burn. None of that. So start with the sauce, just a little bit of the sauce on the bottom. And then on top of the sauce, can you guys see? So there we go. So on top of the sauce, we're gonna go ahead and add noodles. So remember I said, even if it needs to bake, don't worry about it. So you just put the noodles down. Just press it in a little bit. Generally it takes about 3 noodles. And then you have the little spaces at the side. If you want to fill them in, you can go ahead and do so. So what I will do is, you know, sometimes you buy the packs and then you have these little broken pieces in it. I will just put those little broken pieces at the end. Right? As I said, I always tell persons, yes, you want it to look good, but it's not necessarily about perfection. It's about taste. So I just generally put these little pieces right at the side, and I save these other pieces for any other areas that we have. Alright, so you put the noodle. Now you're gonna add some sauce again on top of that. So you go ahead and you spread that sauce on top. Alright. So once you spread the sauce on top, now this is where, now some persons use, sometimes if I'm being honest, I will have cottage cheese, I will use that, but I did not have it today, so I'm just going to sprinkle the regular cheese. So here, we just sprinkle the regular cheese on top of the sauce. Simple as that. Alright? Now once you sprinkle the cheese, then I'm going to sprinkle the other, because remember we grated 2 different types. So we're sprinkling that on there. I don't need a whole ton. And then you have that lasagna, that mozzarella, because you know we like when you cut it and you see like the string, the mozzarella string that it gives. Oh my gosh, I love to see. So you spread your mozzarella right over it as well. Alright. So we're just going to repeat that process probably 2 more times, and then we'll be finished with assembling. So we're going to just fast forward through this part. Right, love, so I'm all out of fresh Parmesan, but I do have this Kraft Parmesan cheese. So we're gonna sprinkle it on top. And then our assembly will be finished. So that's the last thing we're sprinkling on it. Oh, I'm gonna sprinkle some more parsley on the top. And then a little bit of parsley. And that's it. That is our mushroom lasagna. So all I'm gonna do now is cover it with the foil paper and pop it in the oven. All right, love, so I'm gonna go ahead and cover the lasagna as I told you and let it steam in the oven for about 30 minutes. And then I'm going to remove it and then let it continue cooking for probably another 20 minutes. So you don't want to press the tops down, you just want the sides to be folded so that it is sealed. So don't trouble the top parts of it, just ensure that the sides are sealed. And you're gonna pop it in the oven. So I made a smaller one because I had stuff left over, so I'm gonna go ahead and cover that as well. My mother claims that the same size, which is not. The layers are less, so it is smaller. That's it. So we're going to pop it in the oven. The oven has already been preheating and we'll get back once it's finished. Oh jeez, I really want to remember for video when we finish because the last three, something of them I keep on forgetting for video them when they finish. So I'm gonna remember this time. Right, love, so we're cutting the lasagna. Here we go. I don't even have a knife, I just cutting it. Look, and the spoon goes right through. So my little hack about steaming it, trust me, it works. So just taking it out. Take off the side, you know how to, yes. And just lift it out. A very old one and people. Oh, it still itch up somewhere, people. It still itch up somewhere. Alright, here we go. Look at that. Ooh. And it is a little soft, but guys, remember it's not meat. So there we are. You can look in between it how juicy it is. Yes. So that is how it is looking. Just scrape out that. Mommy, she want everything, so I scrape out this gear. Thank you. See, and we're pear. I don't want to call avocado, we call it pear. There it is. So yes, loves, that is how our mushroom lasagna came out. With our guinea juice. See, Mommy drinking our guinea juice and eating our pear and lasagna for dinner. As I said, guys, it kind of look deconstructed because it's not meat, so it's not really sturdy, but trust me, the taste is awesome. Don't Mommy? She still don't want in the camera.